Then, I took a deep breath to calm myself down. The person I'm marrying isn't you. Bradley's friends burst into fits of laughter before I could finish. They patted Bradley's shoulders. Bradley, your fiancée is hilarious. You should tell her not to use such a lame excuse. She'll only make a fool of herself. Bradley felt extremely humiliated. His expression darkened. Julia, that's enough. You've been saying almost every single day that you want to marry me. Now, you're trying to get my attention by claiming that you're marrying someone else. How repulsive. He looked down at me condescendingly. Suddenly, Bradley snickered, leaned forward, and whispered next to my ear. Julia Sanderson, I'll give you the status that you want. However, I won't ever proceed with the marriage registration with you, and I will never acknowledge you as my spouse. A look of surprise flashed in my eyes. In my previous life, Bradley had never expressed these thoughts before. Could it be? I pondered. Before I could process everything, I noticed how Bradley's eyes shone with excitement. I followed his gaze and spotted my younger sister, Jenna Sanderson. Jenna's eyes turned red when she saw me and Bradley standing side by side. Bradley, I've heard of the news. I wish the two of you happiness. She trailed off, buried her face in her hands, and cried miserably. Bradley shot me a glare. Julia, this is all your fault. You disgust me. As I came to my senses, Bradley hurried over and threw his arms around Jenna. Bradley and Jenna hugged each other tightly as if they were the only ones left in this world. They even shared a passionate kiss at some point. Bradley circled his arms around Jenna's waist while Jenna placed her hands on Bradley's arms. The two of them looked much more like a couple than how Bradley was with me. The others were amused as they watched what was happening. Some of them even murmured among themselves, despite knowing I would hear them. If I were Julia, I would have crawled into a hole in the ground and stayed out of everyone's sight. She's thick-skinned enough to just stand here while her fiancé and her sister have their hands all over each other. I was well aware that these people were waiting to see me make a fool of myself. They wanted to see if I would start shouting and yelling hysterically like how I did previously, just to make Bradley look at me. Bradley turned his eyes to me